So, so the can you guys hear me? Is that good? That's my real voice, by the way, so I'm not sick. This is how it works. When you teach boys, this happens to you. Really quickly, I know I have 7 minutes. I'm on a timer here. I'm good. Um, but really quickly, my name is Troy Kemp. I'm from Long Island. So if I start speaking too fast, somebody hand me a glass of sweet tea and it'll slow me down real good. I'm dead serious. That works. Y'all didn't know that. I want to share a little bit the National Center for the Development of Boys. A lot of people in the community wonder, is this Macaulay? Macaulay School created the center because we wanted to have a public purpose. You know, the goal is to work on the other side of Dodds Avenue and throughout the community. And that's very rare for private schools or private institutions to do, but it's really important, particularly with the boy crisis that's going on in America. So it's like, do your part. You know, duty is an important word, and boys are modelers. So if you want to have them do certain things, you got to do it yourself. And sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is. So this is its own nonprofit organization. It happens to be housed on the campus of Macaulay because we get to use the back office staff and some of the facilities. But it's congruent to Macaulay, but it's not equal to Macaulay. So you geometry people out there, congruent means not equal. So we're rolling with it. Real quick, our mission is obviously to improve the lives of boys. I had a parent call me and say, can I drop my son off, when that article came out in the paper? And it's not a center in that way where we have a classroom and so forth. Our job is to work with parents and educators and mentors, you know, mentor to mentors. Because the truth is, if you have an empowered educator who really has knowledge of how to best connect with young men or young women, they're going to do a more effective job and maybe reach 30 children versus one at a time, us working one child at a time. So again, we're trying to transform the lives of educators and parents and mentors. Obviously, anyone who's interested in that, you may be someone who has a newborn, one on the way, or you're planning, this is for you as well. So it's obviously something that's near and dear to my heart, growing up one of 5 boys in a single parent household on public assistance. I mean, the whole nine. I lived in that lane, so I'm really proud to be able to represent some of everybody. All right. A picture's worth 1,000 words as an educator. First of all, I tell people all the time, if you want if you want a girl to do 10 things, you tell her 8. Why? She adds the other 2 to make sure you're happy. You want a boy to do 10 things, you better tell him 12, because he's going to cut 2 off the list to make himself happy. That's how it works, right? But there's a reason why some of this happens. So this is real quick. The challenge was to draw your family. Now, y'all may have seen this when you were in grade school. This is to make sure that everybody's fine with this. So the question is, which one do you think a boy drew? Okay? You take a look. Yeah. So this was the same to draw a family, but the question is, why does the girl draw all the extras? Well, she drew a picture, draw your family. She thought about the words happy. She thought about, you know, the dogs in the family. The boy said, family, that's 4 people. I'm going to draw 4 people. The girl's like, no, the dog, the butterflies, the birds, probably drop a rainbow in there. I'm putting hair on my dad. He used to have it. He doesn't have it now, but I'm trying to make him happy. You see what I mean? So it's a little extra. So again, you always think about that. When you see boys, you ask them questions, they give you a simple answer sometimes. And a girl tends to, particularly at a younger age, give you a more complex answer. There's a reason for it. So again, picture is 1,000 words, worth 1,000 words. So I'll bring you Exhibit A. All right, the male brain, the female brain. This is really interesting. I'm going to share it pretty quickly. If you want to know more, by the way, understandingboys.org. Look me up. We can sit down and talk about it. But this is just the beginning, folks. So in the middle, really quickly, male brain, or the female brain, half developed at age 11, fully developed at age 22. Male brain, half developed at 15, fully, latest research says almost age 30. It's kind of scary. So some of you ladies about to get married, hold on. I told my daughter the same thing, okay? So, but it takes a while. I often tell people that parents have a microwave mentality. Get it done now, yesterday. Boys have a crock pot mentality. It's a little different. It's going to get there, but this gives you hope because you realize that it's not going to just catch fire right now just because you said so. And some of you who are married to somebody who's under 30, just wait. It's going to be all right. Hang in there. All right. But the young ladies are ahead of young men. And a lot of this in terms of the connections on the picture is the gray matter versus white matter. The white matter is there for making connections. Okay, you say family, I think dog, I think happy, I think colors. The gray matter is more linear, sequential, spatial. So the girls have up to 10 times more white matter activity. That means that they're in depth. You ask them about their weekend, they're going to tell you everything. If you ask a boy, he's going to say, it's Monday. 2 days passed, I'm good, right? Very simple. But boys, again, that spatial mechanical, that's why they have to move. That gray matter is more about objects moving through space, so they'll follow a ball to the end of the earth. But here's what happens. So girls a little more complex thinking, boys more linear sequential. They'll say girls are like spaghetti, boys are like waffles. I don't know how that analogy makes it, but somebody mentioned that. Spaghetti, drawing conclusions, the boys are like straight lines, sideways, just like waffles are kind of laid out. But here's the interesting thing, chemistry. One of the things about boys, you ask why they're so impulsive, and even young men. Serotonin and oxytocin are two important chemicals. Serotonin controls impulsivity. Oxytocin is the bonding chemical. So if you have a lot of oxytocin, you're going to hug people. You're going to want to please them and so forth. Boys are low on serotonin and oxytocin for a long time. That's why guys will throw darts at each other in the dark, right? That's why imagine serotonin is like brake fluid in your car, okay? So if you're driving down the street with low brake fluid, you're going to run into some things. Well, boys crash into a lot of things. Most of the time it's each other. Oxytocin is how do you feel about when you made that crash? So imagine a driver with bad brake fluid. He doesn't have any connection, so he's going to drive on the sidewalk anywhere, right? Now you add testosterone to the mix. That's a superhuman chemical. So now he thinks he can fly. So now you have a car with bad brakes and nitrous oxide. Okay, that's a boy. But that's a boy in the classroom, that's a boy in the family. You got to be careful because if you don't understand it, you think something's wrong with him and sometimes wrong with you. So you have to get that. Now on the girl side, the hippocampus is larger, so you're talking about the capacity for memory. More blood flow in the brain means also that multitasking. I thought Post-it notes were made for men, by the way. I said, because this is for the wife or the mama to put some Post-it notes to remind you to feed the dog, feed the cat, feed yourself, do all the extra things. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just a device to help you. But men, one thing at a time, that has to do with the gray matter, white matter, hippocampus. I can multitask. Women can multitask better than men. It's a fact. That's why mamas make it happen, right? My mom can manage all 6 of us. One, if it was a dad, we'd been in trouble. Somebody wouldn't have survived. It's fine. All right, just like picking out clothes. Dad goes shopping for a kid, one size fits all. Doesn't matter if it fits. One color makes it. Hey, think about it, okay? I didn't even know why I would get upset when my wife would come to my job. You know, sometimes I'd be in there working. She'd walk in there, and I'm in my lane. I'm waffles right now. I'm good. And she comes in there, and now home walks in there. And I'm like, I can't process. I'm in overload. I'm either home or I'm here. Interesting. Think about it. When you go home, you're going to scratch your head and think about it, okay? So moving down, it's not that one is better than the other. It's just different. The last thing I'll share, and there's plenty more, folks, so this is intriguing to you, okay? At birth, I'll share this before I finish this last one. I'm sorry. I may go 7 minutes, 30 seconds, but I'm going to be okay. All right. So at birth, female hearing is 7 times more sensitive than male hearing. You notice how boys are loud all the time? Well, by age 50, it could be up to 20 times more sensitive. And I always wondered why my mother could hear everything I said. She's got that super hearing, and I was like, that's real, that female hearing is more sensitive. That's why when teachers at boys' schools, a lot of times we're all loud. My best friend, he left Macaulay and went to a co-ed school in Colorado. He came back after a year. He was one of our best teachers, but he got in trouble. He went to the dean's office after the first week of school. They said, what's wrong? He said, he was an animate Spanish teacher, all animate. He went in there and said, I'm scaring the girls. This is what they said, because he was so animate and so loud, so he was used to being around the boys. That's not to say, so a girl's in my class, she probably needs to sit in the back or on the side, because I'm going to move and I'm going to be a little loud. But I'm going to also change my pitch and my tone to make sure I'm accommodating as well. But if I want to keep the boys awake, then I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to teach by walking around. You see this? I get next to you, you're going to pay attention. How about that? And I didn't even have to send you to the principal's office. Interesting, right? Very different. So you got to be proactive versus reactive. Offense is a lot less expensive than playing defense. Last thing I'll share with you, because some of you men, this might be happening to you right now. At rest state, when you're bored. Hopefully I'm not boring you, but I'm not going to hurt my feelings if you don't. It's, you just ate. So long periods of time in rest state, and there's proof to this. This is actual data driven. A male brain versus a female brain when you're bored, when you're just relaxed, not doing anything. They have these CAT scans and PET scans that will show activity. They light up orange and red when there's a lot of activity going on, a lot of blood flow in the brain. They turn blue when it's kind of very low. So rest state, just not doing a thing. The female brain is on fire, red, yellow, green, so forth, because the female brain is not ever idle. It's always something going on. It's called rumination, right? That's why the stress level for some girls, you got to be careful on what you assign young women, because they're still thinking about yesterday's news when you give them something today. So you really have to help them manage the workload and be very specific and intentional about what's the end of something and the beginning of something else. Now, you notice, it happens. The stress level goes up. Boys almost have that anti-stress thing. They just quit, right? Rest state for young men. You look at their PET scan, when they're blanked out, it's blue. There's nothing going on. Now, I'm not saying, so they can go to zero. And there's some biological reason why a male brain can go to zero. Maybe it's conserving his battery, so if something goes on, he can protect everybody. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the only thing that shows up in terms of brain activity is heart rate and breathing, right? So if you think a male zones out, you know what they do to zone back in? They doodle, they tap, they move. Well, a lot of times kids get in trouble for that in schools. So all I can say is this, home or school, there's a lot to learn about the learners. We could change the curriculum all day, but we got to change the way we deliver the curriculum. So guess what? This iPhone, I've had it, but they keep updating the software in here. I got the same hardware, but the software has changed. So essentially, our goal is to help people change the software, and that's how you deliver the content to young people. So thank you.